Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for Parasyte, aka Kiseijuu, episode 5. Alright, and in the beginning of this episode, we actually see the setup for the ending of the episode. We see this lady who was taken over by a parasite with her boyfriend, who is not, who has not been taken over by a parasite, and they get into a car crash. Alright, the girl gets fatal injuries because she wasn't wearing a seatbelt because she didn't know what a seatbelt was. She's a parasite. All right. Uh, the boyfriend is safe though, so she switches bodies to the boyfriend. However, she gets rejected. Um, Not rejected, but I mean like the body did not accept the parasite. That type of rejection. Um, so the parasite determines that because of the fact that it had gotten used to a female body, its new host needed to be a female as well. All right, and sure enough, later on in the episode, Shinichi's mom comes by. So I'm just gonna say it now. I called it, and I called it. Um, it was kind of given away in the opening, so like I said, I can't really take too much credit for that, but still, um, yeah. Some people didn't actually catch that in the opening though, so I don't know. Maybe I do deserve a little bit of praise. Um, Though a lot of people just skip over openings nowadays, which I don't know why you would want to skip over Parasite's opening because it's awesome. Fear, Loathing in Las Vegas. Um, Loved them in Hunter x Hunter, and I loved them here too. Um, but anyway, moving on. We finally got to the point where Shinichi's mom was taken over by a parasite, and even though I saw it coming, it was still well done. Um, it's worth mentioning that um, the dad might still be alive. Okay, because he actually called Shinichi and tipped him off and everything, and Nobuko ended up going back to the house looking for him to try and finish him off, but he wasn't there. All right, and that's when she ended up finding Shinichi instead. All right, and like I said, this is well done. The music during the scene was really good. Um, Especially when she was first walking in and they were like going slow and stuff. You can see the shadow, then you finally see her, and Shinichi was like all prepared for a parasite, and instead he gets his mom, but he doesn't. He was in denial the entire time, really. Um, Migi kept trying to tell him, that's not your mother anymore. That's one of my kind, and she's been taken over. But he was in denial, so he was just not hearing any of it. And he even threatened to cut Migi off for a second. He actually put the knife to his arm. Blood was coming onto the floor. Like he was in legit denial. All right, and he ends up seeing his mom's head open up like a parasite's would, and he ends up getting stabbed to the chest. All right, and that's how the episode ended. Um, Now, as for the parts in between that, there were a lot of parts in this episode where Migi was explaining things that I actually had already explained last week and the week before as well. Like, for instance, Shinichi's changing, and Tamiya noticed that. Um, Another thing was that Murano, like I said before, Murano and Shinichi's mom could also sense the changes that were going on with Shinichi, and that ended up becoming relevant because we end up seeing Nagai, that dude who was beating up, the dude who has a crush on Murano and was beating up Shinichi for no reason, that dude. Now he's getting beaten up, which, kind of, karma, but whatever. Um, Shinichi ends up deciding to do something about it, right? But that's when we get introduced to this girl, Kana, who was with the dudes who were beating Nagai up. And she actually has better perception than Murano and Shinichi's mom. Alright. So she looks at Shinichi and she can clearly tell that he is different from normal people. Alright. And because of that, she starts following him around like the entire episode, trying to figure out what's up with this dude. Alright. So obviously she's going to become important at some point. Um, I'm going to I'm going to predict that she ends up becoming an ally. However, she ends up getting the Nobuko treatment and actually getting taken over by a parasite. That's what my prediction is, because if you look at the opening, you see Kana there in a prominent spot in the opening, and then it switches from Kana to Nobuko, and then Nobuko's head opening up at, like a parasite. So I'm thinking that since those two were shown in the same scene in the opening, back to back, that maybe those two actually get the same treatment. So that's my prediction. That Kana ends up becoming an ally, but she ends up getting taken over by a parasite as well. All right, that's what I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now. Um, but anyway, Kana is important, but she's not the only important one in the episode. Those dudes that were with her who were beating up Nagai and Shinichi, they end up coming back for more later. They attack Shinichi and they kidnap Murano, and a bunch of stuff happens. Uh, Nagai and Kamijo and this whole crew shows up to try and protect Murano and Shinichi, which those dudes are actually lucky that Kamijo and Nagai and them showed up, because Migi was about to slice them in half. Right? Migi was not playing around. He's like, Shinichi, you're taking too much damage. Your safety is my safety. My safety is your safety. I'm not going to let you take any more damage anymore. Migi was about to slice those dudes up. All right, so they're actually lucky that Kamijo and Nagai showed up. But yeah, after those events, it's because of those dudes attacking Shinichi and Murano that they actually ended up bonding and getting even closer at Shinichi's house. All right, so we got some development between those two, and clearly these two are incredibly close. They have feelings for each other, but Shinichi's feelings are different than Murano's feelings. Like, Shinichi actually legitimately has a crush on Murano, and right now Murano, what's the right way to describe it? I think it's it's kind of like Morgiana from Magi in a sense, where she likes Shinichi, but she doesn't really realize that she likes Shinichi. Like, she has these feelings for him, but she doesn't realize that those feelings are because of love. I think it's more like it's a misattribution of arousal, pretty much. She feels for him, but she doesn't think it's because of love. She thinks it's because they're really close friends and they have that close friendship and they're childhood friends. They're bonded really close, and that's why she cares about him. But she doesn't actually realize, no, I actually like this dude. Like, she doesn't. I think it's like a misattribution of arousal type of thing. So, because Shinichi actually, Shinichi is actually trying to get her to stay over and say oh, I mean, you don't have. It's dangerous. Like, we're getting attacked and stuff. It's dangerous. You can stay here for the night if you want. She's like, nah, that's okay. That's okay. I'll go home. And Migi was sitting there like, man, I thought I'd be able to see human intercourse. Clearly, he hasn't discovered that section of the internet yet. Well, maybe he has, and he just wanted to see it in person. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the episode, really. Yeah, Shinichi got closer with Murano. We got the introduction of Kana, the plot twist at the end with Nobuko. Well, not a plot. Well, yeah, it's a plot twist. Usually plot twists catch you off guard. That's what I'm saying. Like, well, maybe it's not, but it is still, by definition, a plot twist. Obviously. Shinichi got stabbed, but he's going to survive, obviously. One, because he's the main character, and two, because we see him in the preview with that, post-time skip Luffy scar on his chest. So, yeah, he's going to survive. I'm just trying to figure out how this is going to play out now. Like, he can't stay at the house now, can he? Because his mom has the keys. Like, she can just go in whenever and kill him. Well, Migi would probably wake Shinichi up if Nobuko were to come in. Assuming that he can still sense his kind in his sleep. Yeah, but it's going to be interesting. Nobuko probably isn't going to. She's probably going to leave. Migi will probably try and defend Shinichi enough where Nobuko says, this isn't worth the hassle, I don't even care about this kid, I care about taking out the husband so that he doesn't start blabbering about me and stuff like that. So she's probably going to say it's not worth it, I'm going to leave, and then kind of ignore Shinichi. Though, for not permanently though, she'll probably go back and try and finish off Shinichi, just because he did see her. But it'll be interesting seeing the tactics that Nobuko uses, seeing as though they have that joint territory, I guess you could say, in the house. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, that's all future stuff though. As for this episode, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really good. I'll give it an 8.5 actually, just because that final scene with Nobuko and Shinichi was really well done with the music and everything. So yeah, episode gets an 8.5 out of 10, and that's that, you guys. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.